Welcome to the Amy Plus podcast. Today's guest is a true powerhouse in journalism, a 3-time Emmy Award-winning anchor whose presence lights up every room. She's a sharp, dynamic, and beautiful with a charisma that captivates audiences instantly. From covering 2 Olympics to telling the heartfelt stories that bring communities together, she's done it all with grace and passion. She's fierce, she's fabulous, and I'm so excited to welcome Laura Harris to the show.
I want to bring you along with me everywhere I go. That was so sweet. I love that. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited that you're here. It's like we're both like, finally.
Well, yeah, because I feel like we've been talking about this for months now, and finally we're in the same place, breathing the same air again.
And then when you got here, I didn't know you worked in Fort Worth.
Yeah, so the station,
that's where I am.
Yep, the station is in Fort Worth. It's kind of like Irving, though, so it's right next to DFW International Airport. So it took me like 40 minutes to get here.
Okay.
To your compound. It's so beautiful.
And then I was thinking about, I know you came to the Hammett party, but like originally how we met. My husband, Joe, was asking me yesterday, and I was like, I actually don't remember. Was it Instagram?
So I will tell you how we met. There was a gentleman who was personal shopping for both of us at a store in Highland Park Village. And he said to me one day, you need to meet this lady named Amy. And I said, why? And he said, I'm telling you, she's so awesome. Everything about her. She reminds me of you. You need to meet this lady named Amy. And that's when I reached out on Instagram. Marco. Yeah. He used to work at Alice and Olivia.
Oh, yeah.
Our guy.
Oh, yeah.
And so we had the same dude. And he told me that I needed to meet you.
Okay.
And gosh, I haven't talked to him in probably a year now because he's working
moved to
someplace
Houston.
else. He moved to Houston, moved back to Dallas.
Uh-huh.
But I will never forget, he was the one who was like, you have to meet this lady. She's the best.
Oh,
yeah.
I love that. I love him.
Yeah.
Because then we hooked up and went to lunch at Highland Park Village, the place to go.
The place to be. And what I really was struck by when I met you was that you were so gracious. Like you had driven like an hour and 10 minutes to get there. And it was like I had known you for years, which was, it's hard to meet people like that. So that was super fun.
It was like very quick connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you were very busy. I mean, I can't. Like, you are so busy.
Yeah, but I think everybody is busy. I just think that there's different levels of busy. So I think like my level of busy is chaos sometimes, but I don't know that I could have it any other way. It's so funny. On the weekends, if I can, I just like to do nothing and just sit there quietly. And people think that I'm out and doing all these things. And I'm like, RuPaul once said, I'm an introvert masquerading as an extrovert. And I really think that's who I am. Like, I'm not out and about and doing anything, but especially if you look at my social media, it looks like I'm doing everything.
It does. I thought you were doing everything.
No.
All the time.
It is by design that you think that.
Okay. I love that. So for the audience, before we like totally dive in, can you give like the quick little snippet of your journey, your career, all the things?
Yeah. So I started in TV right when I graduated from college. So that would have been 2008. And so I went from a small town in Georgia. Then I went to Charleston, South Carolina. I was the morning anchor there. Went to Tampa, Florida, was there for 6 years, then moved here. And I've been here for 7 years now. And I moved to Dallas. And in my mind, I was thinking, everybody in Tampa told me I was crazy. I was an evening anchor there. And they're like, you're going to leave this job to go be a weekend anchor, weekday reporter. Like, you're leaving everything to go to weekends. And I don't know, there was just something about it. I said, but I believe in myself and I know that's not going to be the only thing that I do. And I was promoted in 8 months.
Here?
Yeah. And I was promoted to the morning show as anchor. And I look back on that day and I'm so glad you asked that, because I think that so often we just continue to climb or continue to do the day to day and we don't really think you should celebrate that accomplishment. And so now that I've been doing this for like 17 years now, I look back on the small towns that I lived in. Like I lived in a place, small town Georgia, where we only had a Walmart and a Captain D's. And, I was a girl from the big city, but I always told myself, and other people knew this about me, that I was never going to be a small town girl, that I was going to figure it out no matter how hard I tried. My parents did a lot of that. It was like, you're always going to do something great. but you have to work hard to get there. So I think the last 17 years, I've proven to myself that hard work does pay off, but it's not over yet. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, that is so inspirational. I can't wait to dive deep into all the things. I researched you, girl.
Oh, what did you find?
I looked you up.
On the interwebs?
I found some things. It was really fun, though. Because, I mean, I see it on social, obviously on the news, but like I wanted to know a little more. But before we get started, I always ask the guest, what's your fit? What are you wearing?
Oh, okay. Oh, I feel like I'm on the red carpet at New York Fashion Week that you just got back from. So this is like, this is Versace, but it's the classic Versace. So you could buy it today and wear it in 20 years and nobody would know the difference.
It's fabulous.
Thank you.
When you walked in, I was like, Versace.
Yeah, this is the Medusa. So we love a good Versace. These pants are Alice and Olivia, one of our favorites. Mm-hmm. And then these shoes are what I like to call my sit-in shoes because I wouldn't dare walk around too far. But these are Dolce & Gabbana.
Girl, they're fabulous.
Thank you.
You look amazing.
Thank you.
You're so pretty on air, too.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Because not everybody is.
I'm just with my cut hair. I finally cut my hair.
No, I saw that.
Scary.
I noticed.
It was scary.
Yeah, because it was, how much longer was it?
So it had gotten to about here, and I had told myself.
Shoulder length.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. And I told myself that when I turned 40, I was going to cut my hair. And I turned 40 in 2 weeks. And I don't remember what happened. Something happened at work where they were like, we're going to shoot some new commercials or whatever. And I was like, well, I'm going to do this thing. I got to go ahead and do it. And I'll never forget sitting there. And I sat down, and the lady who cuts my hair, her name's Daphne. She's so amazing. I love her so much. And she said, let's do it. And she said, don't worry, just don't look. And I closed my eyes. She cut it all up. Oh. And I know, because when she finished styling it, I was like, what did we just do? And she said, I'm telling you, it's great. It's good. And the next day I went to work. I was so scared.
Did you tell anybody at work you were doing it?
My boss knew I was going to do it because you got to kind of tell them.
Yeah, you got to give them
a heads up. And I told the people in the promotions department. But when I came to work, I didn't even want to walk in the building. That's how scared I was. Ooh. But isn't that crazy how we feel about ourselves? Like, why was that big of a deal? Uh-huh. So when I cut my hair, it's not like I walk down the street naked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
it's normal though for women.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how we are.
It's just wild though that we put so much stock in something that in the end will never matter.
Oh, girl, it doesn't matter. I tell myself that all the time. I'll be like, I don't have the right shoes on or I don't have this on. And then I tell myself, nobody cares. Amy, nobody's looking at you, girl. Like nobody. People care about themselves. Yes. Are you a presence when you walk in the room? Is that important? 100%. Mm-hmm. But once they glance and they're like, oh my gosh, I like your outfit. Mm-hmm. I like your hair. I like your whatever. And you have a little convo, then they go on with their lives. So I try not to care so much. But it is hard, and like especially podcasting. And I thought about you because you're on, screen all the time. Mm-hmm. So like just dealing with, everybody's looking at you and your hair and like all the things. Did you get positive comments on like
I got great
NBC?
Comments, and I was thankful because it made me feel like it just made me feel so much better. I will say that being on TV every day has this level of. You constantly feel like you have to be on. And, I've had horrible comments and I've had great comments. But it's one of those things where you just kind of, like I said, the older I get, and people are like, and I'm like, yeah, I'm getting older in the sense that, when you were in your 20s, you felt a certain way about yourself. And then you get to your 30s and then you felt a certain way about yourself in your life. But now that I'm about to be in my 40s, I just kind of feel like if you're a good person and you do good by people, like the rest of this superficial stuff that people are always constantly worried about, doesn't even matter, Amy.
I know. Preach it, girl.
I don't remember when I first met you, I don't remember what you had on, but I remember how you made me feel. Mm. And you made me feel so important. And you made me feel like you really cared about meeting me. And I just will never forget that. And I mean, in the end, if I were to tell somebody, well, she was wearing St. John or Yves Saint Laurent, but she was really mean to me. Like, that's all I would remember. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you weren't. And so I just think that's so important.
Thank you for saying that.
You got it.
Because I felt the same way.
I mean it.
I was like, Joe, guess who I'm meeting for lunch?
Oh.
I was like, it's Laura Harris from the NBC News. And he was like, wait, what? Like, how in the world did that come about?
Well, I loved it.
And it was fun. Mm-hmm. Okay, so real quick, what am I wearing? I'm going to butcher this, but les gens say.
That was perfect.
The jacket, it's pink, it's beautiful. I do like it because it kind of has like the whole Chanel vibe, but you don't have to pay the $4,000
Chanel
price
price.
tag. And then we both have the Alice and Olivia pants on.
I love yours.
And okay, so this is my new Julie Miles ring. Isn't it fab? It's so fab that I've had 6 of my friends buy it. It's so pretty, right? I'll tell you about it later, girl, but it's amazing, right? You can get, this is silver, but you can get the cubic zirconian, you can get the lab-grown diamonds, and you can get the real gold. So she has all these options, and I have the silver one now, and then I have the gold.
Oh,
It's
I
like
love it. I love it. I
showstopper,
love it.
right?
I love it. I
Anyway,
love all of it.
and then Joe's been so kind over the years. He gets me Mickey Moto things with the rings. That's so pretty, right? Anyway, so my shoes, I've had them for 10 years. I was thinking this morning I need to change my laces because I got the shoes clean and I forgot to change the laces out. But I don't really care that much. I don't really care that much. But anyway, so not only are you, an amazing person inside, but you always look gorgeous.
Oh, that's very sweet.
Yes.
I try. Please continue to tell my husband that so that he will know that it's important. It's important. And men are. It's so funny with guys. Like they could put on. Not saying that my husband does this, but I just know men in my industry because I've been doing it for a while now. They can wear the same black suit all week and change the shirt and the tie, and nobody will ever notice.
Not fair.
I will never be able to wear this shirt in Dallas because everybody's going to be like, ooh, you wore that on Amy's podcast. I remember that.
That's true.
Yes.
So do you resell your clothes?
I think I need to start doing that. I need to find a way. Or you know what I really do, especially when I get a lot of formal gowns because we have events like that. We wear the clothes someplace else. So you go on vacation and you go to an event, then you can wear it out there because nobody's going to know. This sounds so ridiculous, but it is what it is.
It's life.
Like people watching this know exactly what we're saying. So it's just, it's so funny when you think about it. And I go in my closet sometimes and I embarrassing. But like even last night I was like, what am I going to wear to work tomorrow? It was like, just pick something. It's going to be fine. No
Okay, so when you're on air, I've actually always wondered that. So you're dressing yourself.
Yes.
But then they do your hair and makeup?
I do my hair and makeup.
You do your hair and makeup.
And I can do my hair and makeup in 10 minutes now that I've cut it.
Okay.
I can do everything in 10 minutes.
I bet. I wanted to also circle back to that. When I turned 40, my 40s were amazing.
So I keep hearing that.
I mean, it was my bet. It was my bet. I'm 52 now, but my whole 40s, that entire 10 years, hands down,
But
best
why?
10 years of my life. I think it's because you are a little more mature, you're definitely more established in life, and you don't care as much, right? But at the same time, you appreciate things more. So like your family, your time with your parents and your friends and all the things. When I was in my 20s, even in my 30s, like I'd be like, oh my gosh, my mom's calling again, right? But then you get older and then you see parents and stuff starting to pass away and people get older. And you just have an appreciation. And at the same time, you're in your 40s, so you think, oh, I'm getting older. And so you do more. There's going to be times where you're going to be like, I don't want to go do that. I'm tired. And then you find yourself going to do it.
Because you get that chance, that opportunity. I love that.
Girl, you're going to have fun.
I listen, I'm not trying to wish my life away, but I'm excited for the next chapter because I just feel like it's turning this strange page. I mean, in my 20s, I thought I was going to be married in my 20s and then I wasn't. And then in my 30s, I was kind of like, well, I never need to get married. I don't have to do that. Like I've done all this by myself and I could just keep going. And if I have kids, if I don't have kids, I'm all good. And then I met my husband when I was 36 because he was my neighbor. So we got married when I was 38. And it was just kind of like, I even tell people now, I'm just like, it kind of feels, I don't want to call it a fairy tale, but it just feels like I can't believe I wasted so much time of my life worried about something that was going to happen when I was 36. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you're 22 and you're worried about something that's going to happen that far away. So now that I'm 40, I'm like, I got to make the most out of every day, and every experience.
Your wedding looks amazing.
Oh man,
Patrick, right?
Patrick.
I mean, you guys looking
Sweet
hot.
sweet patty
looking
cakes.
hot.
I love calling them patty cakes or patty melt.
How many? Did you have outfit changes or what'd you do?
I did 2 out.
That's what I thought.
So I had the wedding dress, which was awesome, and then the outfit that I wore for kind of like the party. But somebody once told me, when I was getting ready for the wedding, and my mom said a lot of this, and it was kind of like, when we were trying on the dress, and I got the dress from Neiman downtown.
They have the best wedding department.
Hands down. It was just so awesome. And I remember my mom telling me, the one thing you have to do that day is remember it. That's the one thing. You don't have to worry about your outfits. You don't have to worry about makeup. You don't have to worry about anything. But you need to worry about remembering it. And Amy, I remember every minute of that day.
Oh,
it was.
Oh, you see a little tearing up there.
It was like, you talk about magic in a bottle. And I remember, so I had to watch this on video, but Patrick and his son, my bonus son, I like to call. So they came out, of course, before I did. So they were already standing out there. Jonathan looked so cute. He had like this bedazzled suit on. We got that from Don Morphy, which is an awesome suit maker in Dallas. But I will never forget, because we got married at the Meyerson in Dallas, walking up those stairs with my dad. And I looked at my dad and I said, Dad, smile. Because I could tell he was gonna, I said, Dad, smile. This is gonna be awesome. And we walked down there. I remember all I saw was Patrick's face, and I'll never forget it. Till the day I die, I will never forget that. And it was in that moment, though, that I realized that sometimes in life, amazing things only can happen because you had to wait. Because you waited all this time for something that's amazing. I mean, I don't know that I would have appreciated that at 25.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so we're getting married.
Yeah.
And this is awesome. And all these people are here to see us. But at 38, I was like, I can't believe 220 people showed up to see us do this. I can't believe that he's there. And I can't believe his son is there. And I can't believe this lady is singing Ave Maria. Like, I just couldn't, you can't put it into words. And now it's almost been 2 years. And it was just literally one of the greatest days of my life.
I think when we met for lunch, you were kind of preparing everything.
Yes.
Because you had a lot going on.
Mm-hmm. And we had just gotten engaged, and he did a great job on the surprising of the engagement. So much so, if you look back at those pictures, I was wearing all black. I didn't know, all these women, they get their nails done. They're all dressed. Their hair is done. We had gone to Vail for my birthday, which I just thought we were going on this birthday trip. And Patrick was like, hey, so I know you love taking pictures. I got this photographer to come and take pictures of us. And I was like, you don't like taking pictures like that.
You didn't think that maybe? What?
And so it was crazy
awesome.
because,
Go,
the
Patrick.
gondolas don't even run on October 4th. So we're just kind of walking down this little path, and the guy's like, I'll just take some pictures of you guys. And we just kept taking these pictures. And then he gets down on one knee, and I was like, and in my mind thinking, this is the most amazing thing. And I wasn't thinking about anything else. But when we went to dinner that night, I was like, I was wearing all black. I looked like I was walking to a funeral.
I would have thought the same thing.
Some lace-up boots is what I had on because we were like hiking. And I just,
that would have been me to a T. College, you played sports?
I played soccer.
Soccer. Okay, and what was the college?
I went to Georgia Southern, which is like 3 hours outside of Atlanta. And, I played soccer all my life. I got a full scholarship to go there. It was awesome because my parents were able to come see us play. And then, I think back on that and I'm just like, what an incredible opportunity I had. But it was interesting because I always tell people, like, life is not what it looks like. So when I was in high school, I was the best goalkeeper in our county, hands down. Nobody could beat me. Like, I was that good. And then when I went off to college, it was in that instant that you're not that great anymore. Like, you're good enough to make this team, but you're not good enough to start. And so it was just, I think in that moment, I learned a lot about myself because I said, okay, so what are you going to do about this? You're going to be upset? You're going to quit? Or are you going to learn something from it and take something with you? So, you're on a full scholarship. Why would you quit? That's the first thing. Second thing is learn something about yourself. And I just put my head down, studied all the time, got really good grades, got some really good internships. And I truly believe that's what set me up to be successful in my career.
I'm glad you said that because I used to be a coach, volleyball coach, athletic director, all the things. Two things that came to mind when you just answered. I still keep in touch with all my kids, and it's very special. We'll do like a little reunion sometimes. I was texting a couple of them the other day, like to do a reunion here. And that's so special. And two questions. Was there a coach that you had that really shaped where you are today?
I think probably I had a coach. This was like 13, 14 years old. And his name was Shane Jeanfro. And he was only with us. We were on a traveling soccer team, and he was only with us for like a season. But there was one thing about him that I really appreciated, and it was, I can tell that you're not working hard. There are people in this life, and that's what you choose to do, that's what you choose to do. But I like to call it, they cheat their way through life. Like they somehow continue to fail up. Nobody notices that they're not really working hard, and they keep getting the jobs, and they keep getting promotions, and but one thing Shane taught all of us was that everybody knows that you're not working hard. You're the only one trying to fool yourself. And I never forgot that in life, that there's a lot of people out there working hard, but there's a lot of people out there, like I said, who just fail up, and they're only fooling themselves, because in the end, the cream will always rise to the top.
That's interesting. That's it. And he was just with you for a little bit, but you still
One
remember
season.
his name and his season.
I remember
love that.
everything about it.
And then you were telling this story about you went to college. It sounds like you were the superstar in high school. You go to college and you can't play the position you want to play. You're not playing as much you want to play. And you could have made two choices. You could quit, or you could take what you had and make the best of it. And that's what also helped shape your whole life and career.
Yeah. I truly believe that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, Tampa.
Yeah.
You started at Tampa?
So that was one of my stops. I really started in a small town in Georgia. Then I went to Charleston, South Carolina, which, by the way, some of the best food I've ever had.
I bet.
It was amazing. Then I went to Tampa, and I was in Tampa for 6 years. And the greatest thing
And
about
there
Tampa,
you were an evening?
yes. So I started as a morning reporter, and then I got promoted to evening anchor. And I did that for like 3 years while I was there. But the greatest thing about Tampa, of course, I still have friends there and everything. But if you've never seen the beach on the west coast of Florida,
It's gorgeous.
it's amazing. Just totally amazing. That's like, if I remember one thing about Tampa, it was that. Yeah.
Okay. And then so what I saw, and I think you might have already touched on this, you get the call to come to Dallas, but you're like the evening spot
Right.
in Tampa, which is
And I leave it.
great. And then you leave it for a weekend spot. Where like, did your family and friends be like, wait, what?
No. And it's like, my parents have always, like, I have an agent, and so he's very good at what he does, but in the end, your career is your own, right? So people have agents and managers and all these people who tell them what's best for them, but you're the only person who really knows what's good for you. And so when the job came open, I knew at the time the DFW market was market 5. It's market 4 now in the country. And I was coming from market 13. So in my mind, this door is open. The window is very small. I got to go now. And my parents have always been super supportive. I think for them, they just always wanted us to be happy, but just don't do anything stupid. Like, just don't make, I just feel like in life, we all make some really dumb choices. Like all of us have. But I think that it's your ability to come back from those choices is really important. And so when I told them that this job had come open and that, of course I was trying to get it and all these other people are trying to get it too, they just were so happy for me. But it was also hard for them because that was the furthest I'd ever lived from home. So now I live, halfway across the country, whereas I was living in the Southeast for my entire career. We're very fortunate that we get to see each other often. They'll fly here, I'll fly there.
And your sister's here.
And my sister now lives
She
here.
came to the Hammett party.
But yes, but that was never so. But she did not come here on purpose. So she was working for a law firm in Birmingham, Alabama. And then this job came open with this law firm that she loved and they loved her. And so it had nothing to do with me living here. They were just in Plano. And so she ended up being here. It was one of the coolest things ever. And so now my parents can fly here and see us both.
Oh, that's
at
so
the same
cool.
time.
She was fun at the party.
Oh my goodness. My sister she's probably the most fun at a party.
I liked her vibe.
She is.
I want to come meet you girls down in Highland Park.
You have to. Bridget my sister is she is the kindest person I know. Like she is just the kindest person I know. But you talk about somebody who loves to have a good time. My sister can have a good time. She will find a good time. I have seen her we're still very much Atlanta sports fans. So the Hawks were in the playoffs a couple seasons ago. And my sister was in the middle of this group of people, like doing chants and everything after they won a game, like in the middle of the city of Atlanta, dancing just by herself. That's my sister for you. You want a good time? Call her up.
Definitely need to meet you guys.
No grass grows under my sister's feet.
I love that. I love the energy. We're
it's
like contagious.
Like she's really the outgoing one. I'm really not. Like I'm just faking it. But Bridget has this way.
Faking it.
It's so funny. She could kill me if I tell you. But when we left your house after that party, I could tell she was kind of like, "We're leaving already?" Because we left like 30 minutes ahead of time. And I was like, "Well, yeah, because I need to get back to Dallas." And she was like, "Okay. Well, Amy was really nice." And then we just kind of drove back to Dallas. But I mean, she loves nice people. She loves new people.
That's great. Okay. So morning anchor, day in the life of Laura Harris.
Oh man.
I would love to hear your schedule.
It's tough. So I get up about 2:00
in the morning.
Yep. In the morning. So, and oftentimes the alarm doesn't need to go off. My body just wakes me up. First thing I do is I check my email, put my feet on the ground, thank the Lord that I woke up this morning, shower, do all the things, put on my clothes. And I'm doing all this in the dark because Patrick's asleep. So I'm trying to like see things in the middle of the night. But I usually try to pack my bag before, go downstairs, pack my lunch, make my coffee, drink my water, get in the car. I'm at the station by 3:15. We have an editorial meeting at 3:30. Then I do makeup at 4:30. We go on the air at 5. We're on the air from 5 to 7:30. Then I have another editorial meeting at 7:30. Then some days I do the streaming show at 8:00. Then we have some pre-records in between that. An 11:00 show for what we call the midday. Everybody should be watching NBC5, by the way. And then
shout out.
And I might leave work, on a long day, I leave work about noon. And then I immediately go work out. Like I have to work out before I go home. That's why I pack my bag, because if I go home, it's not going to get done.
It's not happening.
We have a Peloton at the house, and that's great sometimes, but sometimes you like look at it and you're just like, yeah, I'm good on that. So if you do it before you get to the
Peloton
house,
too.
See what I'm saying? But it just days where you're like,
no, I'm not feeling it.
I'll be fine. But yeah, it's and like this week has been a very busy week. So I'll get home and I might have to write some stories. 2 days ago, I worked till 4. So I was up at 2 and I worked till 4 p.m. So there are days where they're super, super long, and there are days where it's a little bit shorter. But you have to love it. Like, I really, really love what I do. I just think that what I do at the time I do it is very difficult.
What's your evening look like?
I try to, so I usually get in the bed at 3:30 p.m. because I try to do like that intermittent fasting. So I have to be done eating by 3. And then I get in bed at 3:30. I like read a book or watch some TV or whatever. And then Patrick gets home at like 6. So we may talk for like, 8 minutes. And then he goes, because like it's still, most human beings watch television, eat their dinner, watch a sport, whatever they like to do. And he likes to work out at night. So he usually doesn't get in the bed till like 10 or 10:30. Well, in 4 hours, I'm going back to work. So it's, the weekends I can sleep into like 7 or 7:30, but my body just wakes me up. But it's an acquired taste.
Yeah.
Getting up this early.
So I guess you don't like meet for dinners and stuff a lot.
Not during the week. So if we do go for a dinner, if we meet up with a couple or something for dinner, they must be real important to us. There's got to be a reason why we're doing it during the week. We actually have an event tonight, and it's so important though. It's for the United Way. They're celebrating their centennial. And so we're going to go to that. But sometimes I think people see my eyes glaze over when I'm at an event. Like it's like 7:00 and Laura's just kind of standing there like this. Oh yeah, I'm awake. But weekends we try to catch up with people, but again, it just goes back to, I don't see him so much during the week that I just want to hang out with him sometimes. So how that goes.
Yeah, that's going to be my next question. Like, how do you balance that with a new marriage?
It's hard. It's hard. But Patrick is really good about scheduling things. So we have date nights that are scheduled out to December right now. That way everybody's got it on their calendar. So you can't say you didn't know that we were supposed to be so-and-so on Saturday, this, and this. So that's good. I think it's just because we're older, we got married older, it was just kind of like everybody's got their own routine and nobody's trying to stop anybody. But I do, I wonder what it would be like to have dinner with him every day. Or at least like 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Because we only eat dinner together like on Saturdays. So that would be nice. I think that's the one thing that I miss, because when I was growing up, that was the one thing that my family did, where you talk about everything at the dinner table. So I think that's the one thing that I wish I had more of.
Well, and that's a schedule that's not for everybody.
Yeah.
You're very special. You're very obviously disciplined.
Well, that's
and the fact that you still work out the way you do, because I get what you're saying, but you're ready to go work out when you're done, or that's just not happening.
Yeah, and I think maybe this is another thing. The older I get, it's not so much about I want to be skinny, but I just want to be healthy. Like I want my heart to be healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think
if someone wanted to give me to be skinny, I'd take it. Let's not say that, Laura. Let's not go that far. But maybe
I think you look great.
Thank you.
That's the first thing. The second thing is, I think you know the importance of making sure your ticker's good.
Yeah, you're right. When you get older, you realize like if you stop moving, that's when you're in trouble. Whether you don't weigh the exact whatever, Which, by the way, you look fabulous.
That's very kind of you.
I mean, fabulous.
But I compare it to what I looked like before my wedding, which was not real weight, because you lose all this weight for getting married. And so I had lost like 25 pounds right before my wedding.
Wow, 25 from now?
And I had lost so much weight.
Gosh.
And I was so small. And when we went on our honeymoon, we went to Costa Rica. The food is amazing. And Amy, I probably gained 10 pounds that week alone.
Nice.
Because I was just like, nothing matters now. You people aren't taking pictures of me anymore. Like I'm just doing it. So yeah, now I think it takes a little pressure off when you just say, you just need to be a healthy person. And it's not so much, trying to lose all this weight.
Yeah, it's a daily struggle. Even for me, every day I'm like, I wish I was thinner. Like I feel like I've spent my whole life thinking that though. I mean, and I know every woman has their thing. There's some like really thin women that are like, I had one of my dearest friends. She's like, I just want to put on some muscle. I can't gain weight. So it's like all relative.
Yeah. And I just find with women, I have never met a woman who's told me that she's happy with the way she looks, which is crazy.
I know.
It doesn't matter what it is. I've never met a woman who hasn't said, oh, well, I wish my pinky toe was prettier. Like it's something that we find that you're just like, oh my God, again, something else.
Well, you look amazing. And by the way,
thank you.
I noticed that wedding ring.
Oh, he did good.
That thing.
He did good.
Wow.
So that's how
Shout out, Patrick.
Well, yeah. And then I kind of blacked out when he proposed because I was like, wait, what? And then like that night when we went to dinner, I was just kind of like, really? And he's like, yeah. And I'm very blessed, but I also tell people when you get married later in life, it's kind of like it was just, I can't even put it into words, just the blessing of it all. And it took him 6 months to get it made, to find the diamond. And it was just, he was working on all this.
It's gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely amazing. Good for you. I love it.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So when I was preparing for this interview, I'm sure you've done a lot of interviews, but I wanted to ask the questions that behind the scenes the audience always thinks, but maybe you don't get asked. So the first thing I thought of is, with the bad news that you deliver, because you have to unfortunately deliver a lot of really bad news. Yeah. Do you get numb to that? Do you get taught how to, are there mechanisms that you use just to be on air and have to give such sometimes really tragic news? What's that like for you?
It's, I think the more you do it, the more it's not numb because you do feel for people, but you have like this force field about you that you can't, if you felt 100% of the time on 100% of the stories, you couldn't come back the next day. I liken it to doctors. We are not saving lives. I'm not saying that we're important like that, but any doctor I've ever talked to, especially when they work in emergency medicine and you often see people die, they have told me that it's a situation where you are in a mode to do a job. You have to do your job. You have to keep doing your job. And whatever happens in that day, you can't say, oh God, I just, and just be stuck in that, because how can you save the life the next day? So I just kind of feel like I will never forget when Sandy Hook happened, because we were on air when it happened in Tampa. And that was the one, if I ever can remember, because I wasn't on air when 9/11 happened. I was in 11th grade at that time. So I feel like for many people, 9/11 would be theirs. But that was the first time that I actually said, I don't know that I'm going to be able to make it through this one. Because I'll never forget, we had to read all the names of the kids. And so I think that, there's just some that take you down further than others, but you just try to do the job that you're supposed to be here to do. Like, we are here to deliver the news to people watching. They need this information, and they need it in the middle. Like, you're not giving it to them. You're not giving your opinion. You're just non-biased, good journalism, telling people what they need to know. Here's the information. And then you just kind of got to put a period on it and move on. Mm-hmm. It sounds so callous, and I don't mean it like that, like I don't care, but you wouldn't be able to do this every day if you didn't. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I often think that, when bad news is, I get how you have to be that way, though, because like you said, that's your job. You're giving the news. Yeah. But I do worry sometimes, because I feel like I get to know you when you're on TV every day. Yeah. Your audience, they know you. You might not know them, but they feel like they know you. Like, they could talk to you. Like, even like social media stuff. I get people come up to me and like, oh, you're Amy. You're Joe. Oh, you're there. No, they go, you're the plus Joe. And it's funny, because I think it's so cute, because they say, I feel like I know you. And they say that to Joe, and Joe freaks out. Because Joe's
he's like, why do you know me?
Joe's in the back, the background. But anyway, it's being like in your field, I can see how people get to know you. But I do worry sometimes about the mentality and like the mechanisms that you have to go through. Like, do they go to their car at the end of the day sometimes and just have to pray or just breathe or, I know that cannot be easy. And good for you for being able to do it and helping us as the audience. Yeah. It's got to be a lot. And you put us at ease. So I do appreciate
Thank you
that.
for saying that.
That's
that means
what I
a
would
lot.
say.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Going down the COVID tunnel.
Remember that.
So that's one thing I've always wondered about newscasters, because everyone was just glued to the news.
Amy.
What was that like?
Amy. So the bits and pieces I remember, because I had kind of like just blacked out in some of them. So it was, my date might be wrong. Please don't quote me on this, but I think it was March 22nd. And we had been on air. So if you don't watch the news every day, most people didn't realize this was happening. So like in January, beginning of February, I remember doing a story on air, and we were talking about what was then the coronavirus. You would say all of it. And I literally said to my producer that day, I said, what is this? How do I pronounce this? Because that's one thing I do. I read all my scripts before I go out there. I never want to be surprised by something coming up with a problem. And I said to her, what are you talking about? She's like, I have no idea. But like, it came across the wire. It's like this coronavirus thing in China. Like, that's how flip we were being about it, because we were like, what is it and who cares? I kid you not. A couple weeks later, the word comes up again. But now there's like a lot of people dying from this coronavirus in China. And I'm like, isn't this the thing that we were talking about a couple weeks ago? Still not really registering. Because again, until something happens in your backyard, you don't really think of it like that. I'm not doing any research on it. It's not. It's a world away, literally. Mm-hmm. March comes along. And now, like, other countries are starting to talk about this coronavirus. I'm like, God, this is getting weird. Okay, fast forward to March 22nd and the world shut down. And the station, I don't really remember if we got emails or whatever it was, but it was like, okay, everybody's going home. And in your mind, you're thinking, how the heck am I going home? Like, I got to come to work to do the news. No, you don't. They came to my house every morning and set up, like at the time I lived in a Dallas high rise. So it was really cool because the backdrop was just like all the buildings. My co-anchor, she was in the building. They had to keep us separate because they didn't want one to get it, then both of you have it. And this was before the vaccine. This is before you knew what it was. You know, people were dying now. New York City was like, you know, a bad thing. So we had to keep everybody apart until we figured out what it was. The producers were working from home. Everybody's working from home. There's no prompter. I'm literally just reading things off my computer. And I worked from home every day for, I want to say it was maybe 40 days. And at the time I didn't have a boyfriend. I didn't have anything. So I was isolated for that long because I could not go to the station. Like they did a really good job of, you got to stay apart. Like you can never, because we don't know what's going to happen. And Amy, like, we were doing the newscast and just trying to do our best, and people are losing their lives. And then at the same time, it was this weird dichotomy of, am I in jail? Is this real? Like, am I living? Because most of us have never lived through a pandemic. Like, I think the last one was like 1800. So you're sitting there and you're like, I'd never forget, I would look down the windows because I lived on the 17th floor and there's nobody on the street. Like, what are we doing? Or you'd go to the grocery store and you're driving and it's rush hour and you're the only car on the road. It reminded me of a Stephen King movie. Mm-hmm. And to this day, thinking about March 2020, like kids will never, like my bonus son will never understand what we're saying. It's like, no, nobody talked to, like nobody could see each other. If you were trying to talk to someone, you had to call them on the phone. That was the longest I had been without seeing my parents in person. Like, and a lot of people dealt with death and there was just so many sad things. But Amy, living that was just, to this day, if you asked me to, like, if you paid me money to write a book about everything that happened to me, I couldn't do it. Because there were days where I was just like, I got COVID and didn't even know I had COVID. That was how early it was. So, they were doing the blood drives. Everybody go, give blood. People need blood. Like, okay, I'm going to do it. I live right across the street from American Airlines Center. Why wouldn't I? Go down there, walk across the street, got my mask on. She takes my blood and they send me a postcard about a week later and it says positive antibodies. And I'm like, I wonder what that means. Positive antibodies. I go Google it and it means that I had COVID at some point before I gave blood because that's why the antibodies are in my blood because it was before the vaccine. I'm like, I gotta be living in the twilight zone, man. Did I give it to anybody? Oh, wait, I haven't seen anybody. It was just, God.
What a horrible time.
Horrible. And even now, when you look back at it, you, like I said, so many people lost loved ones, lost family members, but I cannot believe we lived through that.
It's like a dream.
Yeah. Wow. Like just talking to you about that in this moment. Because I think a lot of us even just like, I'm not talking about that, man. 2020 happened and I'm good to go. It was 5 years ago. Half a decade that happened. And
everybody was just so glued to the news. That's all you had.
It's all you had. And I think, the fear of the unknown is always. And so we didn't know. And then, these horrible stories are coming out. And then you're thinking, okay, so now they're saying that the incubation period is 10 days. So I saw Amy 9.5 days ago. What if Amy had it? Or what if I had it and I gave it to Amy? And now I find out that not Amy, but Amy's friend Janice came down with it. And so Amy probably talked to Janice. So now I probably have it. So now I really have to stay at home because it was just the rabbit hole of it all.
Horrible.
It
is weird thinking that was that long ago because it doesn't seem like that long ago.
March 2020, the world shut down.
I think, even just 10 years from now, like all of the kids and stuff, they're going to look back on this and they're going to be like, wow, I can't even believe it. So I was going to ask you, let's say, what's a year later, right? The things kind of start and somewhat get back to normal. girl, I got so tired of those rules. I was like,
You were done with the rules.
dude, if you make me put another mask on, walking through Central Market, I'm going to scream, right? So like everybody dealt with their own things,
Yeah.
and it's fine. Like everybody dealt with it.
Everybody
So
had their thing.
There was a point where me personally,
Yes.
I couldn't take it
You were
anymore. Done, right? So I was wondering about you guys. Like when you probably had your own point wherever you went through,
Yeah.
you were like, okay, let's
This is it.
it's getting a little ridiculous, but like you had to go on the news,
Yeah.
right, and say, here's the guidelines, and whatever the guidelines were at the
Right,
time. There
right,
was a
right.
changing of the guards, but
Right.
like, I guess you kind of already answered this question, but you all just have like stone face, like even if you don't believe it or think it, or you think something should let up, like I always wanted, because I'm watching you guys every day. Like, what's that like for you?
It was just give people the information that we're getting from wherever because we were supposed to disseminate the information, And I just remember that, to your point, it would change often.
Mm-hmm.
Like Monday, I would say something on air, and then by Wednesday, they're like, okay, well, you don't have to do that. And the social distancing was a thing, and you didn't have to wear a mask. And I'll tell you, I probably wore a mask till 2023 on an airplane because I didn't want to catch the flu. I was more scared of the flu at the time, because so many of my friends had gotten the flu and they were like, couldn't even, function. They were out for like days. And I was like, well, maybe COVID and the flu got together and made like a super flu. So I remember that was my thing. I was like, well, I can take my mask off. I'm not taking it off. I don't want the super flu. That's what I was thinking in my mind. Like it was I don't know, man. That was just...
Girl, I'd have been the person next to you. It's so annoying. Because I was
you
the
had
girl.
No mask.
Okay, I was the girl. This is so funny. I'll never now I'm bringing back memories. So like, like if you're on an airplane and they give you the nuts and the drink, you can pull your mask down to drink. Right?
Only to drink though.
Right? I was the girl that would keep it down and take 35 minutes to eat my nuts. And like
Amy.
I was so annoyed.
Amy's the super spreader. Amy's
And the flight attendant would come by and be like, are you done with your nuts? I'm like, nope.
Nope. I'm eating them one at a time. But in your defense, Amy, I will say, and there were we had interviewed a lot of psychologists, psychiatrists, and people who said human beings cannot do this. We understand that this is why people are getting restless, because you're not made, especially a person like you. You have events in your home. You like to go to events. You and your husband like to travel. People are not made to be told, you cannot go do this. That was what they said to us. You can't get on an airplane. I remember I flew home to Atlanta in October of 2020. There were like 5 people on the plane. I was riding first class. It was the first time I'd ever been first class. I was like, why is there nobody on this plane? And even when I got to my parents' house, we were all wearing masks. Everybody's like distanced. So I think it was just a matter of who you were at the time. And like, there were just people who couldn't, there were people I work with that they were like, I can't take this anymore.
That's
I
interesting.
have to go to dinner.
And that you guys interviewed some psychologists, and that makes sense. I've never thought about that.
It'll be a lasting impact too.
Yeah.
Like
you'll never
forget
different.
it.
We're all wired different.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm definitely wired to rebel.
And see, that's the thing. Like Amy, you're not a bad person. There's nothing about you that's bad. It's just that I can't be told for another day that I cannot go to go do this thing. There were a lot of people who felt that way.
Yeah. It's probably 50-50. I mean, I don't know, but it was, anyway, I'm so glad that's over though. Right. Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 years
I
later.
hope it doesn't anything ever like that come back. Hopefully we've learned a lot.
Yeah.
It's just so sad, all the deaths and everything that happened. So
it was a crazy time.
Yeah, it was horrible. Okay. So on to the weather.
It's a beautiful day.
So this is another thing I often think about. The newscaster comes on and it's like, storm of the century's coming.
Okay.
Brace yourself, right? And then it's like 9 out of 10 times, it's like a nothing burger.
It feels like nothing happened.
Right? Like the storm actually never comes. So I always wonder, is this either for ratings, or are you guys behind the scenes just really wanting to be very cautious because
Yeah.
if something really does happen and you don't provide the news and something happens, like what is it? Which one is it? Or is it something else?
Well, a lot of people have this question, especially when the nothing happens. So if I can speak for at our station, we have like they are like the most accurate. And one of the things that I have always been taught by them, especially our chief meteorologist, is we show the models, right? So they're predicting what might happen. The thing is, if you have a tornado, it may drop in one area and it picks back up. And then a mile down the road, it drops again. So it's impossible for anybody to know exactly where something is going to just bust down and hit. But I do think one of the things that we would much rather any day of the week is to, and that's why you see, like, you'll look at the map of North Texas and it'll say you have a marginal risk or a slight risk or an enhanced risk and all the colors, because we're giving you a general area of where something catastrophic could happen. Because you just want, like, loss of life is a real thing when you talk about storms and severe weather, especially in this part of the country. The air is just so unstable. I mean, literally, it could look like this at your house, and 2 neighborhoods down, they get decimated. And you're like, I was asleep. What just happened here? When I lived in Tampa, because hurricanes were a big thing, there was a hurricane that was headed, this was Irma, I think it was, headed straight for us. Like, this was going to wipe Tampa off the map. It was so bad that we all had to stay the night at the station. We slept there for 72 hours. They had like these little cots, whatever. Wow. And I mean, it's headed straight for us. And for 10 days, they forecasted this thing. And it was just getting closer and closer. And it was going to be a direct hit. And as the days get closer, it just starts to do this tiny, tiny jog. Just a little bit, just enough, and kept doing this just enough every day, where we got a Category 1 storm and we got lots of flooding and lots of trees down, and there was definitely damage, but no loss of life. Why? Because people actually heeded the warnings and they went, inland. They went to Orlando. They did what they were supposed to do. It's when you don't, people are already not going to leave, especially when you talk about a hurricane.
Yeah, the stubborn ones.
But when you don't warn people and they don't know, that's why these warning systems like the tornado sirens are so important. It's like when you hear that go off, it is not just to alert you that maybe there's a tornado coming. It's to tell everybody who's standing outside right now or in your pool, go indoors, get into a safe space. And we want people to understand that, because we're not doing this for our health and we're not doing it for ratings, because in the end, like, you're going to watch who you want to watch, right? But it is to keep people safe, right?
Okay, so I know you remember this, but do you remember a few years ago, Joe and I had, the McKinsey, it's like an apartment off of Knox Henderson. We had a 1-bedroom there during a time I was going through a lot of health stuff. I had to get a full hysterectomy, a mastectomy, all these things. And so we were spending so much time in there. We kind of used it as an excuse to get a bedroom, or 1 bedroom. But do you remember that tornado that came through? And it was like a lot of the North Dallas area, and in the McKinsey specifically, all of a sudden, all these people had no home. They had these homes for 30 years in the North Dallas area, and they were just swarming in to get a place to live. So they had to move from their house into the McKinsey or find somewhere where there was an apartment.
See what I'm saying?
That was so devastating to so many homes.
Yeah. And if you drive down Royal Lane right now, there are still remnants of what was left behind
from that storm.
From that storm,
wow!
They had to. There were several trees. Tornadoes are very, very interesting beast, but there were several trees that, like, the tops were gone. It was the strangest thing. Like, there's a tree there, but the top is gone, or like that whole Central Market was gone. Like, that whole area over there. Now they've rebuilt, and it's just, to your point, it is catastrophic and it's life-threatening. And so they do their best to forecast what could happen. But there's no reason to be like, there may be a tornado. You know what I mean? There's just really we don't get anything out of it. But we would so much rather somebody say, I'm so glad you guys got on TV and alerted me.
I wanted to ask because I know there's so many people that are like, they're just doing this for ratings.
And think about it. Like if you have a tornado that only has a 1 mile track and North Texas is as big as it is, most people didn't get it.
Right.
But somebody did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the best. Like, I just look at it. I'm looking sometimes at these storms. When I first moved here, there was a really bad tornado outbreak. I want to say it was like 13 tornadoes. And it was so strange that you could go to these neighborhoods and this house was messed up, but we're doing an interview with this guy whose house got blown apart. But this lady who lives right next door to him, there's nothing wrong with her house. It's just...
Yeah. Tornadoes. I mean, Texas weather. I mean, come on. It's so
wild.
unpredictable.
It's wild.
Yeah. There's so many memes about it. They're so funny because we also live in California and like it's like 75 and sunny most of the
That's
time.
what I love so much about California. That's why I love so
stable.
much about
and then
it.
we get back to Texas. Like I look it up every week. Like next
You
week,
have
by
to.
the way, is supposed to cool down.
Allegedly. Like I just, because we were laughing about this today at work and one of the meteorologists, she's so funny. She was spot on. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like summer's last stand. It keeps holding on. And she goes, well, it technically is summer till Monday. So we will get every bit of that heat here in Texas.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you about. I love my favorite thing about the news is the feel good stories.
Oh yeah,
I love those. And specifically for me personally, I was thinking of one, and I remember years ago there was a high school football team, and the manager, the mascot, was like a Down syndrome kid, and so for the varsity for 4 years, and he was on the sideline, getting the drinks, and he was so excited. And then his senior year, the two coaches and the opposing team agreed. They suited the kid up, put him on the field.
I remember this one.
And then they let him get a touchdown. And it was so emotional and so sweet. And I remember seeing that from, the NBC News. It was incredible. But thinking about that story, I was wondering, do you have like a heartfelt story that just reminded you of why you love your job so much?
And that's how we get through the bad stories. Every day we have a segment that's called Something Good, and we tell the viewer, we promise that every day you watch NBC5 Today, you're going to get something good. And so we do one a day, and it is just, I have so many favorites. I think just recently there's a kid, his name is Orion Jean, and Orion is the kind of kid where I think he might be 13, 14 now, but all he wanted to do, like when he was 8 or 9 years old, was do something for someone else. 8 or 9 years old, he wanted to do something for somebody else. So that's how it started. So he starts this foundation at 8 or 9 years old. It's called Race to Kindness. And so they've got this foundation. They start doing really cool things in the community, just small grassroots type of thing. COVID happens. He somehow gets the assistance of all these different organizations and donates like 500,000 meals.
Wow.
To people in need. Now, fast forward, he's like 10 or 11, and he becomes Time Magazine's Kid of the Year.
No way.
And then a year later, he becomes an author. He's only like 14 right now. Like
wow.
Orion, his mom is an amazing person. I don't know these people personally. I feel like I do. But it's stories like his that, when somebody says to me, oh, our future it's gone, these kids don't know anything. And I'm like, don't put that negativity out there because I think of kids like Orion or like the kid you're talking about who's living with Down syndrome. There are so many things that can bring you down. Like I said, the chaos around just trying to get up at 2 a.m. That's chaos. Like who's doing that? Me and my co-anchor. But
it reminds me of my dad. He used to say, nothing good happens after 12:30.
And here we are driving down the highway.
Going to work.
But you see those stories of amazing people doing amazing things, especially at young ages, and you know that you can be part of the solution too. Like if he at that age could do something like donate 500,000 meals.
That's incredible.
How could you and I not, just go to the local food pantry and drop off some peanut butter, whatever it might be. I want people to see in that segment, that Something Good segment, that it doesn't matter how small your contribution is to society. It is not that small because there is somebody watching you saying that, oh, I can go do that too. That can't be that difficult. That, and I always love the prom dress donation story. All these people in Dallas, we go to all these big galas and you're never going to wear the dress again. And so they have these drives where you can donate.
Those are so sweet. It just lighten up those kids' faces.
It's just so sweet.
And the little girls that are young, they feel so beautiful. And some of them are, they don't have parents or in foster homes.
It's just,
I love those stories.
And going to prom is like a rite of passage. If somebody tells you can't go to prom just because you can't afford it, it just doesn't seem fair. And so I look at these stories of women. There's some women in Fort Worth who are doing the exact same thing, and they collect all these dresses, and they're like, just come in here and have it for free.
Oh,
so
that's my favorite part of the news.
See?
Like, that's it, hands down. I love it.
We'll go to our something good section. It's all there.
All right. So flip side.
Okay.
It's not all great, but on the flip side, I was thinking about your past. You've done all kinds of broadcasting. Was there a moment where you got to a scene and it was either maybe intimidating or scary, or you just felt very uneasy being there and you're like, you have to do it because it's your job, but in the back of your mind, you're like, get me the heck out of here?
Pope Francis in Cuba. I'm Catholic, so it was one of the greatest honors of my life to cover a Pope visit anywhere. But Pope Francis said, because his part of what he wanted the world to know was that there were no borders and that he was not afraid to go anywhere. And so Pope Francis went to Cuba. First, at the time, it was like nobody was really doing that. Like people would go to Cuba, but a world leader going to Cuba and to say the things that he wanted to say, that was the part that was kind of, and I remember before we left the station, they kind of told us, hey, so if you feel unsafe, if there's anything that happens, blah, blah, blah. So we get down there and, you're watching your back the whole time. You've watched your back anywhere, right? I see the Pope Mobile go by and I'm supposed to be doing my report, whatever I was supposed to be doing. Doesn't matter. I'm like this. And I'm trying to see as far as the eye can see. And we had traveled from Cuba to New York, to Philadelphia, to Washington, D.C. to see this 10-day tour that the Pope did. Amy, it is burned in my skull. I had my rosary with me. I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that my job brought me here. But at the same time, you're a little freaked out because the reality of what's happening, around you. So there was that. And then there was when we covered the Tokyo Olympics in 21, because they had to move it to 21 from 20 because of COVID. We all get there wearing masks. Nobody can see anybody's face. And they tell us, I don't think they meant it. It's the translation of it all, right? So I'm certain they didn't say it this way. But the people say to us in Japanese, if you don't pass this COVID test, you can't get back on a plane to go home.
Oh.
And so somebody translates it to us, and I was like, say what now? So you need to tell. And
repeat
so
that.
Yeah. So we're like at Narita. Narita is an airport that's like one of the busiest airports in the world. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, yeah, they won't, because they got to hold you here because you can't travel. And so you can't get on an airplane. So if you get COVID while you're here, you can't go back to America.
Hopefully you didn't have it.
I did not. But can you imagine? Like,
I'd be like, can you pee in this for me?
Yeah,
so I
like
can go home.
One of the biggest things of your life, like you're covering one of the biggest events of your life. And in the back of your mind, you're thinking, but don't get too close to the athlete because you might get COVID. Like that was.
Yeah.
So I think that those were the two that really stick out to me that were just, it was an incredible experience. But at the same time, like the weight of what was happening around you. Because you're thinking people are dealing with a lot more than what I'm dealing with right now. And so I think that part, trying to make sure that you have the even balance of that.
So speaking of Olympics, I can't believe you got to do both Tokyo and Paris. I was wondering, are you specifically chosen? Do several people from the studio go? Because you went to both.
Yeah. So they do pick, and it was just a blessing. Tokyo happened, and it was one of those things where my boss asked me, he's like, do you want to go? Knowing that we were in the middle of a global pandemic. Of course I wanted to go. And then Paris was amazing because I got to see an Olympics, like nobody was wearing a mask. It was amazing.
I looked up some clips of you
You're
being interviewed.
You're in Stade de France. There's 75,000 people screaming. And it's just like you're watching Sha'Carri Richardson running in the rain. There is nothing in this world like breathing rare air of people who are the best at what they do. There's nothing like that feeling. And so you have to gather yourself and not act that way when you're talking to them. But it was probably one of the greatest experiences of my career is having the privilege, because that's all it was a privilege. Like, this was not about me. It wasn't about the station, but it was the privilege of being able to tell people stories, because you think of people, they've been doing this, like Hesley Rivera. She was 16 when they won gold, but she's been doing that. She's been in gymnastics since she was 3. You imagine doing something since before you could really speak, and then you go and get to do that thing on the national stage, and then you go win a gold medal.
Incredible.
I to this moment, I just sometimes I just have to be like, okay, Laura, calm yourself down. It's going to be fine. You're going to be, but yeah, I mean, that's the best way I could describe it.
So many of those families, on the news, sometimes we just see the superstars, but there's so many people that aren't even covered that much. And they so sacrifice so much financially with the families to get them through the training, all the things to get them there. Is there any specific athlete that comes to mind, especially from the Paris Olympics, maybe that you'd like to share a story, maybe one from Dallas?
Okay, so Jasmine Moore is from Grand Prairie, and she became the first American woman to win a medal in long jump and triple jump in the same Olympics. So we knew Jasmine was good. Everybody knew. But, long jump and triple jump, everybody's waiting for the 100 meter. They're waiting to see if Sha'Carri can do it. You're waiting for these marquee events. But Jasmine's story, you talk about somebody who's just worked her butt off all her life. Like all her life, even before anybody knew who she was, before Tokyo. Like she went to Florida. She just was just a good freaking person. And when you see somebody like that make it and they medal, and all she could say to us was how blessed she was and thankful that her family was there. Like, at no point does she say, well, I've worked all my life for this, I deserve this, and that's what I've interviewed people who say, I've worked for this. I've worked for this. She always gave all the credit to all of them. And I will never forget that.
Were you on the track when she was jumping?
We were there. So the way that the stadium is set up, they have like this, what they call the mix zone, and we're all standing in like this tiered area. So you're in the stadium, you're like just this far back from the track. And so you're watching everything that's happening, and they have to come and walk through where we are. So when she's walking through with and we waited maybe an hour, she had to say thank you to that many people. We waited, everybody had cleared out of the stadium, and here comes Jasmine. Because she has the American flag on her back. She's already said thank you to all of her family, everybody who came, traveled to France to see her. And she comes up there just to say, I'm thankful for my faith, and I'm thankful for my family. And I'm just like, that's a winner.
Oh, and a Dallas winner.
And a Dallas winner. That's true.
I can't imagine what that. I love being, as a coach, I used to be on the track. And you could see so many sports at once.
Yeah.
And I bet that was neat for you guys to kind of experience and see all the things.
Yeah. And it's like so much happening. So like there's javelin happening, and there's also the 800 meter happening. And then they start doing the steeplechase where they open up and like there's the water on the ground. And then there's just, it's controlled chaos at an Olympic Games anyway. That and like the pool, like when you go to the natatorium, it's event after event after event after event. So you're you're keeping notes and you know what time your people are going, but it's weird. It's like, okay, so this person's swimming at 8:40, this person is diving at 9:10, this person is doing this. It's just this constant. And then when the Olympics is over, you're just kind of like, I gotta go back and watch what happened because I don't even remember.
Yeah. I'm so excited about the next ones being in LA. Because we're in Orange County. And
we want at your house.
Well, you could. You could, because we really want to see the men's volleyball. Because one of my best friend's son plays for the team, and I know him and his friends, and they're most likely going to be on the Olympics. And so we could stay at our house, and the volleyball is hosted in Anaheim this next time.
You have to do it.
So I'm like, I'm so stoked.
My first Olympic experience was 1996 in Atlanta. My parents had gotten us tickets to basketball. And you're so little. Like, you don't know. I'm like 11 years old. And I'm like, okay, we're going. We didn't even see Team USA. It was like Slovenia and somebody else, which, but now that I look back on it, I'm like, holy smokes, my parents gave me such an incredible experience at that age. We did the whole pin trade and everything. And I just encourage, and people think it's so expensive to go to an Olympics. Like if you live in the city where it's being held, it's really affordable. Mm-hmm. Like you can go to some of these events for $20. And so I always tell people, I'm like, if you ever get the chance to go to an Olympics, whether it's winter or summer, you gotta go. Mm-hmm. It's just
bucket list for sure.
It has to be.
All right, Laura, I've got a bombshell to drop.
Oh my gosh, what is it?
I know something about you.
Is Patrick here? Oh.
You've already had that moment. So one thing that I know that most people don't know about you, you are not a super cowboy fan.
No. And
those are fighting words, girl.
They are fighting words. And I feel so bad about it. And I just, this is where it comes from. This is no disrespect to the Dallas Cowboys, because I think this is, if you say what you want about the franchise, Jerry Jones knows how to market.
For sure.
Anything. So that's the first thing. But when I was a kid, Atlanta Falcons were my team. And my dad loved the Atlanta Falcons too, because we lived in Atlanta. But my parents are from Ohio. So their team is the Cleveland Browns. Browns are never good. So we lived in Atlanta all our lives. And so growing up, the game that we would get on the East Coast at 4:15, because we were Eastern time, was the Cowboys. Every Sunday, we got the Cowboys. And every Sunday, they would call it America's Game with America's Team. And my dad was like, why do we have to keep getting this team? There's 32 teams in this league. Anybody else, because they could never see the Browns games. Like we would never. And it was just so funny. And so all my life, all I remember is my dad like, it's 4:15. Cowboys are on.
Shocker.
Because the Atlanta Falcons game would always come on at 1. We were always the first game. Mm-hmm. And the Cowboys were always that second game. It was like clockwork. And so now that I live here, it is a running joke with my family, because when I moved here, my mom said to my dad, you're going to have to go to a Dallas Cowboys game. And he said, I don't care. I'm going. Like he was just, so it was, I think and when I tell the story at work, it makes people laugh. I'm like, y'all, I promise you, that's where it comes from. We just didn't want to see America's team on America's Game every Sunday at 4:15. We just didn't. And to this day, so like I said, I'm always down for the home team. When my team's playing, I'm not rooting for the Cowboys. If the Falcons are playing the Cowboys, I want the Falcons to win. But I find that so funny, because to this day, I still am like, it's America's team on America's Game. And it made me laugh all my life since I was a kid.
That's so fun. So I grew up in Houston, but my dad was not an Oilers fan.
See?
So it was always the Cowboys. It was like just driven in me. Like I remember one game specifically, it was a big game, and that's back when they would actually win playoff games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were doing it.
And they won a game. I swear my dad jumped so high, his head almost hit the ceiling. He was like that guy.
So are you a Cowboys fan then?
Unfortunately.
So you don't even though you guys split time in California, there's no team out in Cali that you're interested in?
No. I'm going to be honest with you. I do not enjoy being a Dallas Cowboy fan, but I am.
You see?
Yeah, it's tragic. I hate it.
I'll tell you
But
another
I can't
thing.
help it.
That's the thing. I'll tell you another thing about the Cowboys fans. I am enamored by how they are loyal. Like we've done interviews with people. I've never seen people transform entire homes to look like, and we ask them, we're like, why are you such a fan? Because it's the Dallas Cowboys. And they'll, like Jimmy Johnson once said, how about them Cowboys? So I will give it to you all. You are the most loyal, because I know, like, the Falcons lose, win. It's whatever, Cowboys lose. I see people like breaking TVs. Like, so I'm proud of y'all.
You probably should feel sorry for us.
No, I'm proud of y'all. Listen, I can't talk about anybody's team. My team has never won a Super Bowl. We went all the way to a Super Bowl. We're up, 23-3, and ended up losing. So at least you have Super Bowls to talk about. I do not.
Okay, I have to ask, you did a TED Talk.
I did.
That was incredible. What was that like?
Oh, man, that was...
Was it in South Lake?
It was. So TED has these little satellite speakers, if you call it, and it's called TEDx. And so you're invited to come do it. And when I first said that I would do it, I was very excited about it, because I always, like people say, but I throw it out there. Like when I say something at work, I'm like, and thank you for attending my TED Talk. I will say that and just walk off from somebody. But I finally got a chance to do a TED Talk. So I was so excited. And do you know what goes into that?
I can't even imagine.
It's not what you think.
Really?
Like, behind the scenes on it, I'm not telling you trade secrets, but you think that, like, you could just go up there and talk. Like, I knew what I wanted to talk about. Mine was about what is your ceiling. So just always pushing yourself to a greater limit, whatever. And I told the woman who was overseeing this, I said, that's what I'm going to do. And she said, okay, great. She said, you could just submit your 12-minute TED Talk to me and I'll look over it, and then we'll send it to TED. They'll look over it. And then you could, and I was like, what am I submitting? And she said, well, yeah, you have to write the whole thing out, the whole 12 minutes, and then you have to give it to us. Amy, in my life, I've never written anything down. I've done keynote speeches. I've done events. I've talked to kids. I don't write it down. I know what I'm going to talk about. I have some bullet points, and I go up there and I just do it. That's the way my brain works. When she told me that I had to submit this word for word and I had to say it word for word, I almost dropped out.
Yeah, because that's not your style.
I almost quit.
You're not comfortable in that.
It made me so uncomfortable. It made me uncomfortable to know that what if I get up there and I forget what the next thing is? I'm going to be a fraud. Like, the whole point of this is to, like, make people want to be better human beings. And then I go up there and I forget it. And I really thought about it a couple days, and I said, I don't know. I don't want to do this. And then I just kind of, I don't really run a lot of things by a lot of people. I just kind of internally process things. And then I said, no, you should do it. You should do it because you're uncomfortable. That's why you should go do it. And so I got through it. I did it.
I heard it.
Did you like it?
I loved it. I actually wrote down one of your quotes that you said. That really helped me.
Well, I mean, I don't remember it.
Okay,
what did I
tell
say?
it to you. I wrote it down.
I only memorized it for that day.
Well, girl, it worked. I love that. Okay, here's the quote. Don't always be so focused on the goal that you don't enjoy the climb. And that, when I heard that helped me, because my life and everything that I have going on right now, if you ask people that are close to me, I have trouble with that. I have trouble, like, stopping and enjoying and appreciating the moment, because I'm more like, what's next? What can I do next? What can I expect next? And then when you said that on the TED Talk, I know you don't, it doesn't matter that you don't remember, because I remember. I was like, okay, I'm going to write that down. I'm going to memorize it. So that is interesting that you probably affected a lot of ladies' lives that you don't even realize. Well,
I do. I love that part, because I was just talking to me. I have, for most of my career, defined it by, I'm going to get to this point. But I never told people what I wanted the end point to be. I just always said in my mind, I know where I want to go. That's where I'm going to end up. And Amy, I got to be honest with you. I don't remember a lot of times celebrating the things that I had done. I won the first Emmy. I don't even remember really. I don't remember what was said about it. I don't remember celebrating it with my colleagues who won with me. I remember taking a picture with the Emmy, and then that was it. And then I won an Associated Press award for coverage in Cuba. I don't remember that. I don't remember a lot of awards that I've received because I go get the award and then I like put it in a drawer and then I'm just like, okay, but yeah, I'm just throwing this out there. This is not true, but that day you won that award. But yeah, but last week I was supposed to, be the keynote speaker at Amy's event, and I got bumped by another lady because they wanted her instead. That's all I'm worried about. Like the thing that didn't pan out. Why are you worried about that? It's consuming. It's all consuming. And I think in a world of social media, things moving super fast, everybody wants to be the best. We're doing everything for these likes. Like, I mean, the whole thing about having followers is that you're leading them somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm such a fraud if I'm not leading them to like the most amazing, it's like, who said that? Like, I'm trying my best.
When you get in your car, I want you to go back and listen to your own TED Talk.
I gotta go so I can remember what it was about. I need to do that. And I think that's probably a lot of us need to go back and look at like the most amazing things that we've done. Mm-hmm. Everybody has amazing stories to tell. If it's, I caught a 15-pound fish, or if it's, I have 3 children and all of them are doing their best in school, if it's, I'm an electrician and I just got promoted, people just aren't, we're so hard on ourselves. Uh-huh. We're so hard on ourselves. And the hardest workers are the ones that are the hardest on ourselves. We're just like, it's never good enough. And then when you think about it, in the end, not to be morbid, but in the end, when it's all over and somebody says your eulogy, I just doubt very seriously anybody's going to bring up the fact that I won an Emmy. I just don't think anybody's going to remember that. But I just hope that they remember the way that I made them feel and that they know that everything that I do, I'm just doing it 110%. Foot on the gas, because I just don't do things halfway, which is why I don't really understand when people do things halfway. Like, look at the setup you have here. This is not halfway because you want this to be good. Mm-hmm. You want people to look at it and you want people to say, production value. They're not going to say that. You know what they're going to do? They're going to watch it as regular people and be like, wow, this looks really awesome. But if your mics weren't right and the lighting was crazy and the background was just a regular white wall and there was nothing going on, people aren't going to remember it. They remember that you did this full speed. I wish more people would say to themselves, just one thing a week. Think about it Friday night and just be like, what is one thing I did this week that I'm really proud of?
That's great advice.
A lot of people would be like, I'm not proud of anything. And I'm like, you went 5 days and you're not proud of anything. Reevaluate what's going on then. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're digging ditches every day, well, today you dug 10 and yesterday you dug 8. So you did 2 more ditches today than you did yesterday. Mm-hmm. Like, it's, I just wish that more people would remind more people that we're all just trying our hardest.
Mm-hmm. It's great advice.
Yeah.
That's very touching. I'm kind of like tearing up a little.
I love this. I love this. But that means that it's real, it's authentic.
True. So we're going to wrap it up.
Okay.
I did have one last question. Where does Laura Harris see herself in 10 years?
I want to be wherever God wants me to be. I just really, I don't, there were some, like these, I look back on my 20s and I think about what I was going to be doing when I was 40, and I never imagined that I'd have this many blessings already. So I'm blessed beyond measure right now, but I just hope that I'm using this vessel and all these opportunities that I've been given to do what I'm supposed to be doing. I never want to get to the end of this life and say, God, I should have done that thing, or I should have been nicer to that person, or I shouldn't have taken that job just for the money. Like I should have done more things with my church. I hope that I've accomplished the things that I want to accomplish, but at the same time, I'm the person that God wants me to be here to be. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's amazing. I feel the same way. Well, you do have a lovely spirit about you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you could tell that God is God. He has his hand on everybody, but he's using you in ways that you don't even realize. Even like that little example of the TED Talk. It's kind of like in your past, you don't remember it, but I listened to it, 3 days ago, and it inspired me. So all the little things that you're doing, God has put you exactly where you need to be right now for the perfect reason. And I love you. And on that note, you don't see this coming, but we're going to do a little lightning round of the this or that.
Oh, snap. Okay. I love these.
Okay. They're pretty good. Journalism hero, Robin Roberts or Dan Rather?
Robin Roberts.
Game day in Dallas, cheer for the Cowboys or stay loyal to your Falcons?
Loyal to the Falcons.
Cover the Met Gala red carpet or the Super Bowl sidelines?
Oh, Super Bowl sidelines.
Okay. I actually wasn't sure what you're going to say on that one.
Because
you're such a fashionista.
Well, yeah, it just sounds like a night that my feet would be hurting.
Like the shoes you have on now, your Dolce shoes.
I'd be in some sitting down shoes that I was standing on the red carpet, and I just felt that for a moment. So no, I don't want that.
Morning fuel, 3 cups of coffee or 1 Red Bull and hope for the best?
Oh, 3 cups of coffee.
I knew you were going to say that
Yeah.
one. Breaking news or a feel-good feature?
Feel-good feature.
Okay.
Feel good. Oh, yeah.
Olympic swap, Michael Phelps in the pool or Simone Biles on the mat?
Oh, man. The only reason I'm going to say Michael Phelps in the pool is because when my mom will vouch for this, when I was like 7, I was in gymnastics. I don't know why, but I was in gymnastics and they basically told me I was too big to do it. And so I had to stop doing gymnastics.
The same thing happened to me. I mean, Avi, but
so you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like at this point, like I don't want to do anything. Like gymnastics makes me sad.
Okay, on-air style, glam squad or ponytail and go?
Oh, I wish I had a glam squad. Yeah.
I thought they did your makeup, by the way, because your makeup looks so good.
Oh, that's very sweet.
Okay, last one. Front row at Fashion Week or courtside at the NBA Finals?
Oh my gosh. Well, humble brag. This is only because I have very, very kind friends. I have sat courtside half, like right there, looking at Luka Doncic during the NBA Finals run.
What?
My sister
Dreamy.
and I were there half court. I mean, that's Luka. I'm touching
Amazing.
Luka, like right here, back when, we didn't break up. But yeah, so I think I'm going to do the front row at the fashion because I've never seen that.
I could see you rocking that too.
Yeah.
New York
Yeah.
Fashion Week is so fun.
I
You
gotta
should
do
go
it
with
one
me
year.
one year.
We have
in
to
your
do that
busy
one year.
schedule.
Well, we just have to tell them like 2 years in advance that I want to go.
Okay, Laura, this has been so amazing. Will you tell everybody where can we find you on all the things?
All the things, it's very simple because it's the same on everything. So it's Laura Harris, NBC5 on Instagram and on Facebook.
Okay.
That's it. Laura
You're
Harris,
so fun to
NBC5.
follow. Make sure you follow her. I love your page. It's great because it's all authentic. That's what everybody wants. They just want authenticity. And that's you. And you're beautiful and you're a godly woman. And I'm so appreciative that you came on.
Thanks for having me, Amy. This means so much.
I know. Okay, so if you've loved the show, make sure you follow, subscribe, all the things on the Amy Plus podcast. And we'll see you next time.